Finance Committee, June 2nd, 2023. I'll ask Commissioner Slater, she'll lead us in the pledge, and I'll say the blessing. If you would, please stand.
Pigeon salute pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all that you do for each and every one of us. Lord, we just ask you to be with each one here. Give us the patience to make good decisions on behalf of Bradley County. We ask you to be with all the people here and the families they represent. Thank you for all you do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Okie dokie. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to change a few little things just in the order. Director Towns here. So we'll get back. We're going to go to the agenda items, and then we'll circle back and take up the amendments. Before we do that, though, I'm going to recognize the mayor for his report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only thing I have other than all the things on the agenda is your credit card report.
Yes.
Fire department used twice, all good. Assessor used 5 times, all good. Sheriff used once, all good. County mayor not used, and EMA used 11 times, but all good.
11 times, all good. Sounds like.
Any questions? If not, that's all I have. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mayor. Thank you. All right. On our agenda item, the first one is the septic balance program. Chairman Cry had asked to put this on there. He's not going to be here. He's going to be running a little late. But from what I understand, Mayor, I think they chatted with you, is the brain dead, the septic program. There should be a tiny, relative amount in the quote-unquote sewer bucket that we could tap into. I think it was 135,000, correct me if I'm wrong, that we could add to more septic, since we apparently, I'm going by that, we have run out of the 750,000. Your thoughts? Are you aware of this? I guess I shouldn't assume anything.
Yes, and I've been working all week with the people we contracted with for admin, and I got back an answer yesterday. We do have, in my proposal, 165,000 more that we could do in septic repairs if you all choose to. They're contracted till the end of the year, but they're also contracted to only do 750,000. So I was asking, would they be willing to let us put more in that bucket? And here's what I got back yesterday afternoon, just so you'll know what they said. I wanted to first say it's been a pleasure to partner with Bradley County government on the allocated $750,000 of ARP funds for the septic repair program. I feel that significant good work has been and will be done when all these monies have been spent and the project is completed. The SE Tennessee RC&D Council does appreciate the county mayor and commissioners for thinking of us and offering another option for our board to consider. After much discussion, our board is still firm in the fact that we are limited on manpower and are unable to use the additional monies. And they go on to compliment their employee that you all have met. So the gist of it is they're not willing to do more. That was yesterday. I've been raking my brain, and if you all want to do what you're referring to is you have approved in the plan $1 million to be in the sewer bucket.
Yes.
You have budgeted $750 for septic repairs and $115 for admin.
Correct.
What it would require is a couple of amendments that I would have to get back to you Monday for you to approve Monday night if you agree to it. But if you're willing to do another $165,000 in septic repairs, 10 for admin, we'll do amendments to that effect and announce it to start back up Tuesday. They've been notified now that there's no more money available. We do have more money. They're just unwilling to do it. We'll somehow do it in-house with these amendments getting approved Monday night. That'd be 165,000 more septic tank repairs, which is about 20 more applicants, 20 more approved applicants.
That's what we thought, I think, yeah.
So that's up to you. If you four are in favor of doing it, we'll have you amendments Monday, ask you to get them approved Monday night so we can start back up on Tuesday.
So to summarize, they're quote unquote done. They feel like they fulfilled the spirit or the legality of the agreement. It's not so much the length of time, it's the amount of money that they were willing to be admins for. All right.
Yeah, that's true. They're not willing to continue to take applicants. They are too busy with other grants and so forth.
That's
The argument went back and forth. They're contracted to the end of the year, and they are, but they're also contracted to the amount of money, and they've met that amount of money. They're still gonna be working on it because they're not finished and paid out yet, but they have made all the commitments.
That makes sense to be working, well, yeah, I'll put this up to be, working, they're working on permits and then us doing it parallel. It seems to me that we should wait until they're done and then pick up. I don't know if
Well,
that's-
theirs have all been approved and are in the process of getting done. You know, they've been permitted, they've been approved, but I would say they'll be through in the next couple of months. What we would do, if you so chose, is we would pick up and start taking 20 up to 165,000, approximately 20 additional applicants. And I would suggest a deadline of 90 days. We'll go through those 20 and probably quicker than that. It won't conflict. It'll be two different things. The only difference to the public is if they haven't applied yet, then they still want to. One person I know of just got his permit yesterday, and now they're out of money. He's been waiting a month on that permit, which is state, by the way. And we'll still do the same process.
80-20 and all that.
Right. I wouldn't want to change any rules other than if you haven't applied yet and now you've got your permit, you would come to our office instead of their office.
Commissioner Slater.
And so they would turn their receipts into your office and you all would cut the check for them. Is that how that would work?
Right. We cut lump checks now to the RC&D and then they divvy it out. We would do them individually, approximately 20 checks over the next couple of months. We would take the application, we would require them to bring the permit back to us, and then they would bring it back to us when it's approved. And then when the job is finished, they would bring the bill to us, which we would write a check with the amendments to reimburse them the 80%. Just like's happening now,
The
except it would be
20%.
here. Ma'am,
You would reimburse them the 20%?
the 80%. It's 80-20.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the same, you said same rules, so.
Yeah, I don't wish to change anything. They have sent me the application just before I came over here that they use. We'll take that application and change the name where appropriately to Bradley County. We could have done this from the beginning. We don't have staff to do that much money. And I really wanted it to be outside of the county government so it wouldn't be perceived as political. But we do have some more money to spend on it if the need is there. And I know there's some need. I don't know if there'll be 20 people or not. But that's why we'd want to put a timeline on it. But if there's 20 more people that need this kind of help to fix their septic systems, I think we ought to do it, and we can do it short time in-house. We will be taking some admin, but not near the percentage that they took.
All in all, when it's all said and done, if this goes through, it'll be almost $1 million worth of.
You would have spent $1 million less 85,000 for admin, so you would have
And-
spent 925.
And the true cost would be the 20% that the residents had to pay for this, well, so.
Right. It's a great program. I don't know how close we are to being at the end of it. I just know there are some. There might just be 5 more people. So if that's all that applies, then we'll wrap it up at the
Yeah.
deadline. And
The deadline, yeah. Commissioner Slater, please.
No, I mean, if there's no more questions, I'll make the
Commissioner
recommendation.
Mason, Commissioner Alford, comment, open floor. Thoughts?
Yeah, I was, the 165,000 is still in the bucket, right? We
it's in the
haven't-
bucket. It's just not been budgeted by
Right,
you guys.
yeah, hadn't been budgeted out, so
It's in the approved plan.
I can see going 165, but I don't see putting any more extra into that.
I don't either. I'm just suggesting we use up the $1 million that's in the plan, in the
Yeah.
bucket.
And if we don't get enough applicants within, 30 days, did you say?
30, 60, 90, whatever you guys
No,
want to
I'd
do.
limit it to 30, because I can
Yep.
see,
Here's the only thing, I'll interrupt you.
A little bit more time.
I would love to cut it off in 30, but I'm telling you this, the first thing that you're told if you have a problem is go get your permit. All right, that puts you at the mercy of the state, and the state is taking approximately 30 days to get that permit to you, so we might need to give them time to
We're
come
gonna be
back in
busy.
after they get it.
He's gonna be busy.
Does that make sense?
I just think we need to look at really close on a time frame.
I
If we go
agree, because
60
we don't want to
days,
be dealing with it very long
no,
either.
'cause
I
y'all
don't want
don't
you to have
have,
to deal with
you
it
don't
very-
have the manpower either
No.
to deal with it on a consistent basis. So
Well,
I-
consider this, Commissioner Alford, I mean, here we are, June, he's got his proposal coming Monday night, we have the meeting, and then we'll be working on the budget till July 3rd. In theory, we should have it done by the end of next week, but you never know. I would say a little bit more time, because we put a 30-day limit on you, you got other things to do. I
Well,
mean, I want it to be considered the fact that you're 25 days away from a budget proposal, resolution.
Yeah,
It's a
and
busy
like I
time
was
for us.
saying, if you know now that you have a problem, you haven't applied yet, it's gonna take you 30 days to get the
I'd say
permit,
the end
so
of the-
there's no way you're gonna have it, the
I
process.
would go with the end of July. That way, you got June to work on budget stuff.
60
After
days.
July 3rd, it frees up.
I've gotta get the amendment to you Monday because
Yeah,
we would wanna
because-
start it immediately, which is this budget year. Yeah, the timing's not been good at all, but,
I mean, we can work that out. I mean, if you want 30 days, fine, but I was trying to think the fact that next week's a very busy week, and we vote on the budget on July
well,
3rd.
if you will approve the amendments Monday night, I would propose starting it immediately. And then however long you want to wait to cut it off, whether it needs to at least be 60, but whether you want to do 60 or 90, it'll be up to you.
Or somewhere between. I mean, you're the one doing the work.
When did we,
Please.
when did we start this program? How long? has it been
Roughly
going?
January. It took about 5 months to use the 750. That's why we could use the other 165 up in 2 months. Again, it's at the mercy of the state permitting a little bit there. It's the only, it could go quicker than that if it wasn't for that. But a guy told me the other day that it took him almost 4 weeks to get his permit. Well, he can't even come and apply with us until he has that permit, which tells us he has a problem and here's how you fix it, you see. And he's got to bring us that permit and the estimate to do it.
All right. Any thoughts on there? So-
If you approve the general idea of what I'm explaining and recommend that to the full commission, then Monday night we'll have the amendment, because Renee's not heard any of these numbers either, but we'll have the amendment for you to actually approve Monday night if you could, so that we can move forward immediately.
Very good. And Commissioner Slater, please.
Are you ready for me to make it?
Yes, please.
I'd like to make a recommendation that we allow the mayor's office to offer up to 20 or take up to 20 applications over a course of the next 60 days to use the remaining $165,000 in the sewer bucket.
So does the number of applications, I mean? or
Now,
is it-
the amount's all you need, because the number will vary. On average, it'll be about 20. It could be 19,
Up
could
to
be 20.
165,000.
Right. Now, your amendments will show 165 going into that bucket, and it'll show some admin money going into the inspections budget.
And I put that in the form of a motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Slater's to allocate or appropriate 165,000 towards the continuation of the I'm sorry, not the the septic program. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Mayor, in your proposal on Monday night, you'll tell us 30 days or 60 days.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you it needs to be more than 30 because of the state, so I would suggest 60.
60 days, so July 30th, the last.
Your
day of July.
motion would be to say
So-
60 days,
So your cutoff,
and
this program will end on the last day of July.
roughly, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Is that okay with you? Okay with the second?
Or until the money's,
Or until the money's gone. So
Yeah, it could be
if everybody hits
sooner.
you up next week and you hit
I
165. you're
think our
done.
commitments will easily be up in 60 days, but again, we can't take a commitment until they bring us the permit,
Correct.
and that's the holdup.
And if there's any unused money, it'll just,
It'll stay, and
It'll
it'll
stay.
be something that'll be moved to another bucket
then
at
we'll
some point.
figure out what to do with it. Very good. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Mayor's got his marching orders. Very good. Very good. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
opposed, say no. Passes 4-0. Thank you on that. The next one on the agenda item, we have, Director Town here. Mayor, on the, breakout of the art that you gave us a couple weeks ago, really good in the sense that a lot of these things are gonna help us with capital projects. We talked about that. Director is in her budget request, put in 25,000 for a new vehicle. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong, that they have found a vehicle, but it's just a tad bit more. We'd like to, basically, add an extra 7,000. If you guys still have the car over at, Cleveland Ford,
We've checked. I'm not sure that it's still available, but we do have one or two more that we are in the process of checking into. And they range in the same price range, 32 to 35. So
right,
we're still expecting kind of that same price range, but we've not been
Basically-
able to get anything.
25. So
What we were-
32 is what your new request is. I have no problem with that, but I'll open it up to the other members of the Finance Committee. Commissioner Slater, Commissioner Mason, Alfred, Mayor.
It's for juvenile detention. We have to pick up our meals at the jail. And we also, we have to transport kids from one facility into another, or we have to go pick them up, like if one of ours is caught in Hamilton County, we have to go pick them up.
And it has to be outfitted,
Has to have
has to have all the
cage.
security things that a normal
Right,
police vehicle would have,
right.
from what I
Which is
understand.
why it kind of restricts us, we can look at. And if you've looked for a car lately, talking.
I did, anyway. And we have some leeway in this bucket. Yeah, Mayor.
I have already changed it from 25 to 32 in the budget,
Oh, well,
Awesome,
but that's July 3rd.
right,
So if you can make that work, then it's taken care of.
right. We've made it this far.
Well,
but then,
if you have the ideal one and it's 32 and you can get them to sit on it, that would be so much simpler for me, because it's in the budget if it gets approved July the 3rd.
I didn't know that, sorry. I didn't mean to bring you in,
That's okay,
so his
Always
proposal
happy
on
to
Monday
come in.
night is gonna have 32,
okay.
and as soon as the budget's approved on July 3rd, go get your
Free to
vehicle.
go.
Does that 32 include all the safety stuff that has to be in there, or you're gonna have to use some money out of your? How much do you think that would be? I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
About 3,000 or 4,000
3 or 4,000?
in addition to the car.
Commissioner Alford,
Yes, what do you plan on doing with the old one?
No, I don't know that we've really thought about that unless we use it as secondarily in the event that this one goes. Originally, we did have two vehicles and one went down, so we're down to one. So in the past, we've used that as a secondary vehicle in the event we needed it. But it may come in handy if we trade it in or if we actually sell it through.
The additional extra money that you might need? That's where I was going with
Yeah.
it. That's a good
Yeah.
question.
And you're well aware, I'm very in favor of, if we can make money off of it, I'm gonna make it and put it back in my budget.
Same.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was
Mayor.
just gonna add, you don't have to do anything Monday night. The 32's there.
Right.
When you all meet Thursday and it makes it past you at that point, that's when,
I didn't know that you put it in your proposal.
it's in there. I just, if you have $10, you can give them as a down payment, get them to hold it to July 3rd,
Sure.
and then bill us after July 3rd. Everything's perfect.
Okay. We'll talk to
Thank you very much.
you.
All right. Commissioner Gilbert, you had your hand up. I'm sorry I missed you. No, please come up. I'm sorry I missed you.
On the septic,
Yeah,
there's
we-
probably enough people that's already starting to get approved. If you just stop it where it's at, there's probably enough people that's already getting approved that was on the program, that applied for the program already,
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
and that it will catch up. Cause I know 3 or 4 people that just got their approval, just like you.
Yeah, as they get the state permit in,
Yes,
they'll be coming in fairly quick, I assume.
that's what a lot of them.
But I don't know that there's 20, there might just be 10, and those other 10 then are gonna take 30 days to get that permit, so. Yeah, I think we'll be okay with the 60. But this is mainly telling the people that's done a lot of work on it, going through the process, don't cut
Yeah.
me off in the middle of the process. And we have the money there, so.
That was it.
Thank you. All right. All right, that, last item on, the agenda is the budget calendars. We know, according to the calendar, this Monday, as the mayor referred to a few moments ago, he'll be making his budget proposal to the full commission, and then finance will take it up, on Thursday of next week. All right, now going to the, unless there's anything else, no, budget amendments. First budget amendment is Bradley County Schools. Susan is here, and we chatted the other day. This is the auditors being auditors. We'll put it that way, won't we, Susan? But, I'm gonna try, Susan, to explain it. This is a budget document that the auditors have asked the school board or Susan, to enter into the minutes. It is funds or that we have already amended through a budget amendment. In fact, we did it last month. That 439,852. So it's not like brand new money. It's already money that we amended, but the auditors want this memo in the minutes. All right? All right. So do I have a motion to accept this, budget document so that we can put it in the minutes at the next voting session? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. I think that's the only thing you have today, right? Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. And there you see the supporting documentation. Next budget amendment is from Bradley County Road Department. $8,983.91. She's decreasing her revenue and increasing her expenses for insurance recovery. And you see the supporting, there's no supporting documentation on there, but is insurance recovery, obviously. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. The next budget amendment, staying with Bradley County Roads, 43,000, decrease in expenses on one line in the same account from one line of 105 to 103. 43,000. This is for the engineer, I believe, Mayor.
Yes.
That we changed a little bit in the budget, so I guess they're catching up to it. Anyway, so, do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Commissioner Alford, please.
Possibly, he's a certain kind of engineer, so he might not be one I could use on a building project, but, and the reason, this was last year, so this is from memory here. We put money, some money in there, whatever we were spending, we put in the road department last year. And now he's having to put some more with it to actually finish out the year. Historically, 90% of that job has been spent on road department, so it's where it's always should have been. But we could probably use him from time to time. We did use him to sign a plat or two recently because of his legal. It was questionable, but so I'm hesitant to answer you point blank. But most of it will be road stuff. But it's possible, yes.
Very good. We move on to the next one, page 7. I'm sorry. Do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Thank you. Now to budget amendment on page 7, still staying with the road department. Decreasing expenses of $13,548.29 coming out of equipment operator. Moving it over to a truck driver, and you see the description right there, just a coding error. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment, page 8. Again, staying with road department, 118,000 even. Decrease in expenses out of equipment operator 143. Putting it in two lines there, truck drivers and laborers. Those two added up. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Continue on now on page 9. Staying with roads, decrease in expenses of 90,000 from 189 and moving it over to 149 and 187, which is labor and overtime. I did ask to make sure they had enough Social Security and all the cascading lines when I talked to her the other day, so that's all good. Anyway, motion to accept the amendment. I have a motion from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, I'm sorry, Commissioner Slater, please. I don't know.
It was, but it was out of equipment operators, and now it's out of other salaries. It's a different budget within the road department, but it's moving it from a different line.
That's the one we called her about? No, we called her about. It's a different line? I'm sorry. No, wait.
You move money out of equipment operators, now you're moving it into laborers and overtime. It's different lines that it's going into as opposed to where it came out of.
Yeah. Commissioner Slater? Don't have a motion in a second yet. I have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. That takes us to page. I was going back and forth. Page 10, thank you. And we're still with roads. She is decreasing 513 out of account 66000, employee benefits $9,214, and she's increasing unemployment. So basically workers' comp, she's moving it over to unemployment.
We pay the PNC, workers' comp, PNC insurance in July. So the only reason we would have to have access to any of this is once they do our audit in October. So what was in there has been spent already. I mean, and this is probably the balance that's left in line.
But she's moved out of workers' comp, so she.
Mm-hmm.
I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Page 11. Staying with road department, she is decreasing revenue by $10,466.14 and increasing expenses for asphalt. I think I did call her on this one. She's already recognized the revenue. That's why it's already in there. Cause I was like, where's the check? Anyway. So do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0.
Hey, Marlon,
Yes,
interrupt
sir.
you there, because that was where we paid for the parking lot paving, and if you've noticed, it got striped last Memorial Day, so it's
I
finally,
saw some work being done over there, but
yeah, it's finally completed.
I might actually start parking there now.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 places.
Who?
Hey, Chairman. Hey, Chairman.
Commissioner
I
Mason.
was out, I'll speak for this for the road department too. I was out on Humphreys Bridge Road this week, and you talk about a fine bridge they've put out there to open it back up this past week. It's a nice bridge. If you get a chance to go out and look at it, they done good on it. It'll be there
forgive
for
me,
years to come.
Yeah, forgive me, but where is Humphrey? It was a joke. It was my attempt at humor again. Totally failed. Thank you, Commissioner Mason. I'm going. All right, that concludes the roads amendments. Mayor, there is one other thing that I have a note on. Talked to her yesterday, and I think you might have just make sure they're going to get state aid money from the governor's program, whatever. She was like, "How do I handle that?" I was like, "Recognize the revenue and appropriate the expenses."
Yeah.
But
It's, at some
it's
point,
not in their budget request that they submitted back
right,
in March.
and it shouldn't, but when they get it, it'll go into the bank, they'll do a amendment to increase revenue in that particular line and also increase the state aid, road program
Okay.
budget.
So I was wrong. All right, County Mayor, $32, your decrease in revenue, and you're putting it in building improvements. This is for your knock box. So I guess you were 32 short.
We're reducing the reserve account. What it was when you did an amendment a month or so ago
Yeah.
for that project, they didn't include shipping, so this is reserve, taking $32 more out of reserve and putting it in their line to pay for the shipping.
All right. Do I have a motion to accept the budget amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0.
Just one question.
Please.
That's at the archives building, is that
Right.
where that's gonna be? Okay,
The-
thank you.
The Knox box is actually installed. The system is in the process.
All right, next one there. Renee, this is just a info thing, or do we actually have to vote this? That you messed up?
My little brain, my little fingers didn't work when I keyed the budget, when I was keying these in, so I just need you to approve the fact that I keyed the numbers wrong and I'm fixing them.
It's gonna be on the front
That
page
was-
of the banner right there.
That one number was wrong in all of those accounts, and now you're approving the right number, so.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the paper. We have a motion from Commissioner Slater to adopt the new account numbers, not account numbers, the line items, right?
It's the account numbers.
Account,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, account. It stays
they're
in,
in-
it stays
they're
in what
in
fund,
the
one twenty-eight.
right
I have a
account right
second from
now.
Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no, passes 4-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment. This is $252. He's increasing his revenue and he's increasing his expenses, so it's money coming in. I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented. I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no, passes 4-0.
Did you notice what that one was, the recreation?
Uh-huh.
That's where they caught a bad guy for vandalizing and made him pay, so that's the money coming in. I just wanted to point that out. That don't happen all the time.
And we were talking about this the other day, that the check is from Gala, and I guess the new order of restitution, like the quote unquote victims get it first. So we were the victims.
We finally, yeah, that's costing us a lot of money, but in that case, it was good.
We actually had 2 checks. All right, that moves us down to page 17, Election Commission. She is moving, and did she send that extra one? Anyway, this is-
She sent you an emergency one. I didn't have it on here. It's,
Okay. This one is, she's decreasing expenses out of $599 other charges, and she's moving it over to communications, $116. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner.
just a second.
Sound excited when you're making that motion there. From Commissioner Slater, I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Yeah, if you don't mind. All right, we're at planning inspections. Mr. Wilson is now submitting amendments, Mayor. And he is, oh, I see. He erased the word, and now the word that's left is what he's doing instead of circling, which is what the instructions say. This is our inspector, this kid. $700. He's decreasing his expenses, and he's decreasing expenses. I wish they'd do that other way. Okay. He's decreasing his expenses by $700 from gasoline, and he's moving that over to maintenance and repairs for his vehicle, the tires on the Nissan. All right. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. So he can get new tires on the Nissan. That takes us to page 19. Ms. Hewitt is increasing expenses and decreasing expenses. So she's basically moving $2,000. And see, she's done hers the opposite of way of what Mr. Wilson did. So we're back to that. She's decreasing from $599 other charges at that $2,000, and she's moving it over to travel. So I guess she's got to go somewhere in the month of June. All right. A motion to accept the amendment. I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Continue on to the next budget amendment, page 20. Again with Ms. Hewitt, $600. She is increasing expenses. Her rentals, she is decreasing out of other charges, $599, again of $600. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Slater? I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Moving on to the next amendment, page 21. Ms. Goodson, I hope I'm saying her name right. She's decreasing expenses out of dues and membership, increasing it over to maintenance and repairs to cover office services for the rest of the year. All right. I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment. And we get into our friends over at Juvenile. They obviously got a highlighter this year. All right. Just kidding. $231.07, and she is decreasing line 307 communications, increasing 435 office supplies. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment, page 23. And she is decreasing expenses again from 307 communication and increasing 320 dues by $1,000. I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented. I have a motion from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Continuing with juvenile court. She is decreasing expenses out of 335 maintenance and repair buildings of $4,000, and she's moving it over to 399 other contract services. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? A motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. And you guessed it, juvenile court again. Decreasing expenses, $1,515. She's decreasing maintenance and repair. Keep in mind, this is a different account than what saw maintenance and repair on the other. I caught that the other day. And increasing $355 travel and increasing $435 office supplies. So that 700 plus 815 together equals that 1550, right? Or 1515. Any further discussion? Oh, do I have a motion from Commissioner Slater? I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. And juvenile court. She is decreasing expenses out of $499 office and supplies, increasing her utilities $452 by $300. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Moving on to the next budget amendment. Page 27, she's decreasing expenses out of 160, that is a salary line, guards, of $8,000, and increasing it in her overtime of the same amount. 187. I have a motion to accept the amendment. I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Commissioner Alford, please.
There's guards, taking out of guards, are we running a shortage in guards there, or making some work overtime?
Right, Vicky? How many vacancies you got right now?
Sorry.
Vacancies right now, and so in order, when we have certain ratio of kids, we have to have certain number of officers, so we've had some that had to work overtime for that, so just a matter of, had some hire and some leave. We were up to, I believe, 6 or 7 openings at one time, and we've got it down to 2 now. But through those other ones, it's a matter of some come in and they leave for either something better paying or another reason, so it's just the nature of that.
Curiosity, what's your population now?
Right now,
Mhm.
for kids,
Yes.
I believe this morning we had, looked at the detention list, I believe there was 9 in detention.
Or most of them Bradley County, or some out of Polk County, or?
We have, I believe we have a McMahon hold right now. I don't believe we have any state holds right now. We just released a state hold last week, so that fluctuates too. It just depends on the nature of if a kid goes in state custody and they call the holder. So there's no definitive, otherwise those are Bradley County.
So we're not having any problem getting money from these out of county?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, they're very good about paying as soon as we've not had any issue with that. Our, other area county holds are actually up, so
Okay, thank you.
welcome.
Anything else on this amendment? All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. And just FYI, they have enough of the Social Security and Medicare to cover when they move the 8,000 over to overtime. And here we go. Juvenile court. She is decreasing expenses out of 355 travel. Note the account 54230. She's also decreasing 575 out of tuition. She is decreasing 1,500 out of gasoline or gas, and she's putting it all in 790 in the same account, other equipment. And I believe that concludes that amendment, right? Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Juvenile court. You guys were wondering if it's done right. What is she doing here? Decreasing expenses by 3,500 out of line 410 custodial supplies, and she's moving it over to utilities of the same amount. Very good. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. And that concludes the juvenile amendment packet. Moving on to Bradley County Emergency MEMA. He is decreasing expenses. Thank you, guys. Thank you. $750 decreasing expenses from other charges, which is $599. He's moving it into uniforms. Insufficient funds in this budget. I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Say it loud. Passes 4-0. Sticking with EMA, $2,487. He is decreasing expenses out of communications, and he's moving it over to 336. Moving funds ready to purchase a smart board and the plot system. Oh, Mayor, I was going to ask, what is EOC?
Emergency Operations Center.
Okay.
911 Center is what we'd call it, probably.
Okay. What we need is another three-letter acronym.
I know it.
All right, he's moving money to cover that, so, very good. I have a motion from Commissioner Slater, I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no, passes 4-0. Moving on to the next amendment, we are on page 32. Sticking with EMA, $1,442.80. He's decreasing his travel line, and he's moving it over to 336 of the same amount. Motion to accept the amendment as presented. I have a motion from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Again, with EMA, $2,158.89. He is decreasing line 309, contracts with government agencies, and he is increasing maintenance and repair in the EC. I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Commissioner Alford, please.
You're asking the wrong person. There are about 6 amendments, and they're all putting money into that line to do that at the ELC, but I can't answer that question.
Lori, will you just send a quick little email over to Director Spence and just say, give us a Cliff Notes version of what smart boards and pilot systems are
For the EOC.
for the EOC?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
the
the
911 center.
It's the 911 center.
Oh. Why don't you call it the 911?
He's doing, well, I told you that, but
Oh, well, I'm working here.
But to shorten it, do the next 3 together if you're gonna approve them, because they're moving more money to the same thing.
Oh, are they? Let's take them as a package. Can we do that? All right. So we'll take amendments 30 on page 34,
35 and 36.
35, and 36. We're going to take those all together, kind of like we do with services rendered, because they are going all over to 36 for the, you guessed it, EOC. Do I have a motion to accept the 3 amendments together? I have a motion from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. That takes us to page 37. I guess he's not moving money. Oh, this is a vehicle. Okay. All right, $362. He's decreasing communications, and he's increasing vehicle and equipment insurance. Request to move. This is the vehicle that was transaction with the schools. Is that the vehicle we're talking about?
This is probably to cover the vehicle that they purchased to replace that one.
The
Replace that
next one covers that vehicle, but this one's additional insurance for the new vehicle.
Very good. So you had money over in communications, $360. I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Sticking with EMA, he is decreasing his revenue, sale of equipment, $10,000. So he's already got a check. Yeah, there's his right there. And he is increasing 338 maintenance and repair. This is the vehicle that schools purchase, right?
Mr. Chairman,
Riley County Schools. Yeah, Mayor?
before you get a motion, has he already recognized this revenue, Renee?
That check has already been deposited. She's got it also fixed.
Has it been recognized, so is it increasing revenue?
It would be increasing
So
revenue.
change the revenue to increasing revenue by 10,000 and
Schools
increasing.
wrote us a check and
Well,
we've already deposited it.
We
She's-
talked about that, but I thought we had already recognized the revenue because
We've not done the.
he
we've not
called
done
he
the
called
budget
me and
yet.
asked, he said he was gonna have an amendment to it, so I didn't go back and look, but I thought we already had it, so that's why. So we basically need to increase revenue on this amendment instead of the circle of decrease. So there should be a check for $10,000.
There was a check for $10,000. Is it not in here?
Yeah, there's
I'm
It's
looking.
right there.
I'm looking.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yep,
page
there we go.
40.
Very good. It's all there.
Sometimes that confuses them on the increase and decrease of revenue.
That's money coming in.
It's money
Right.
coming in.
It's not budgeted, it's increasing revenue.
Very good. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as,
You don't have one?
I was getting ready to
Oh,
ask for?
so sorry.
I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. That takes us to, there's a supporting documentation. Takes us to page, oh, they even put the title in here.
44.
Yeah. Takes us to page 44.
Mhm.
Thank you. Now we're in sessions, Judge. Clay Collins is moving, he's decreasing expenses by $112.95 from his travel line over to your, I guess he needs a magazine. All right. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. You move your finger, and I had to take that as a, you were going to motion. No, she's. All right, next one is on page 43. We're only halfway through. I've already taken care of that.
45,
45.
page 45.
45, Flint Pierce. All right, he is decreasing expenditures, part-time personnel by $600, and he is increasing office supplies by the same amount. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Mason. I was waiting to see. Do I have a second? I have a second from get ready to say it. Fell for, like I said, but Commissioner saved the day. Commissioner Slater seconds the motion of the amendment. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Sticking with Sessions Judge, he is decreasing expenses of $29.55 from his travel and moving it over to office supplies of the same amount. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner. All right, I'm not gonna. I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Sticking with Sessions Judge, he is decreasing expenses by $320 out of his travel, and he is moving it over to dues and membership of the same amount. Do I have a motion to accept? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. And that concludes the Sessions Judge. Going into EMS, he is decreasing his expenses by $373.95 out of his tuition line, and he is moving it over to, he's also decreasing $1,000 even out of 719 office equipment, and it's all going into gasoline. Of those two amounts equal that $1,373.95. Mayor, he's probably the only one who's actually come short on gasoline. Everybody else, some more of EMS, but yeah, EMS on their budget. Everybody else didn't have. Had plenty, so they must be really using. Is it those new extra vehicles that we got? I only say that, but we can talk about it next Thursday, but we may need to increase his. Anyway. We have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Sticking with EMS, he is decreasing expenses out of 307 of $2,383.18. He is increasing line 338, maintenance and repair. Yeah, just as a little preventative kind of thing. All right. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented from Commissioner Slater? I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Sticking with EMS, he is decreasing expenses of $4,347.36 out of laundry, which is line 329, and he's moving it over to 413, drugs and medical supplies. I have a motion to accept the amendment. I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Again, with EMS, he is decreasing expenses out of travel through line 355 of $1,000, and he's increasing at the same amount debt collection. Now, this one I do have a motion, question after we get a motion in a second. I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Mayor, we were talking about this on debt collection. I guess I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but when we have a vendor that goes out and gets outstanding bills, so to speak, right? If I send them over and I say such and such person owes us $1,000 to keep the numbers easy, don't they just get a percentage of any money they collected? So why would we need to move money in there to pay them?
The
Because
money,
we don't pay them unless they get something.
that's correct. Well, they send us, they send a bill every month or quarterly or whatever to EMS, and we pay this billing company. I don't know what the percentage is. I've not ever looked at the contract, but they do deposit. I would think that, this is my opinion, I think that the ambulance service gets the money from them, deposits it, and then we reimburse them the percentage.
Oh,
They
so
don't
they
deduct it.
collect the whole, in my example, they collect the
They
whole,
don't hold the money up front.
they don't take their cut at the
No.
time of transaction. They send us, okay.
They
Now
get a
that-
percentage, but they don't retain it. We have to pay them.
Okay. That answers our question there, 'cause. All right, so where am I at on this? Do I have a motion and a second? I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. And now we move into fire. We have this big amount of money right here, $5 copy fee. He is increasing his revenue and he's increasing his expenses. And he's putting it in line 790. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Moving on, there's your check for $5. Fire, $12,332 even. He's increasing his revenue and he's increasing expenses because this is money coming in from BFIS. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Sticking with fire, he's decreasing expenses out of dues and membership by $700, and he is moving it over to laundry services.
No.
I'm
You
sorry.
got a bunch of them.
No,
This one is a four-page budget amendment.
they mess me up when they don't do it right. All right, so $700 out of 320, 1,000 out of laundry, $280.71 out of 336, 308 out of pest control, $50 out of postal charges, $50 out of print stationery form, $1,339.43 out of the fire fund.
Next page, it's out of 399.
$399. Oh, yeah, okay. $398 out of 413, which is drug and medical. Well, he's hitting all his lines. $1,377.85 out of instructional supplies, decreasing office supplies by $3,000, and it's all going into maintenance and repair vehicles in 338. You got all that? A lot of lines getting hit on the expense side, on the decrease side, all to go into 338 maintenance and repair. I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, say no. Passes 4-0. That takes us to page 60. $3,000, he is decreasing expenses, custodian supplies by $3,000, and he is decreasing, here we go again. $7,949.43 out of $499. $1,000 out of food supply, and it's all going to, yep, okay, make sure those add up. $11,949 at 43. It's all going to $790 other equipment for bunker gear for the rookie. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Page 62. Still with fire. He is increasing revenue and he's increasing expenses. Oh, this is their in-service payment. Okay, $49,200. I have a motion that they've already been paid that. This is reimbursement.
They'll get paid that on next payroll.
Oh. I have a motion from Commissioner Mason. Thank you. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. And we're back to EMS somehow.
That's because I put it in the wrong stack.
Usually we keep like departments in sequence. All right, it is $20,000. He's decreasing from line 790, and he's increasing in the same account gasoline. Again, I'm not gonna say it. 20,000. I have a motion from Commissioner to accept the budget amendment as presented from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. We have another copy, $5. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0.
That one's a duplicate, and so is the next one.
We just gave them a whole whopping $10 and they didn't need it.
Yeah, just take that. Just
So
take that one
66 is not needed?
back. 66 is not needed. I wondered where the copies of the checks were.
Right
There
now,
they
I'll
are.
take anything, right?
So we can get rid of those two.
Then we'll go to page 70.
They approved it just a little bit ago. So evidently I
Oh,
copied.
apparently, okay, if it didn't take, we got it.
You gotta do it again. I'm sorry, they sent 50 emails all at once. I mean, and I duplicated them.
I'll let it slide. Page 70. We are now with the sheriff's office. $100 donation, and it is going into other supplies, and this is for Child Safety Day. I have a motion to accept the donation. I have a motion from Commissioner Alford, Chairman of Law Enforcement, and I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion passes 4-0, and there's the check from Kona Ice, Chattanooga. Scrolling through, back in the sheriff, $500. He's increasing revenue and he's increasing expenses. Renee, how many of these donations, we can take all the donations
This is
at
the
once?
last one.
This is for K9 Joker is retiring. Okay.
The good news is we don't have to pay retirement.
Don't have to pay retirement. I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Mason. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. But I'd like to see Joker's medical bills though.
We've used all the money on, that was donated towards his medical bills that the insurance didn't pay. And my understanding is when he retires, the handler is going to take him, and
Right.
he assumes all responsibility for him.
Right. We're giving him to him.
He's an asset, right? I mean,
Yep, you had an asset disposal form come through to allow us to take him off.
and we.
No, he didn't have to work now. He gets to go home and get fat.
All right, we are now on page 74. And $16,320.70. He is decreasing revenue. And so he's obviously got the money in there. This is in Sheriff's Department. And he is moving it into maintenance and repair and law enforcement. Director Stone loves to type in caps. Or for mental health transport is what we don't. Yeah, this is what I call her about. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Alford. I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Still with the Sheriff's Office, he is decreasing expenses out of the deputy line item 106 of $35,000. Note that. All right. And he is putting it in overtime, 35,000 of the same amount. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Next amendment, we are on page 76. Decreasing expenses. Now we're in the workhouse account, 54220. Decreasing that 5,000 from deputies and moving it over to, in the same account, 187 overtime by the same amount. Do I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Alford? I have a second from Commissioner Slater. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. Now we're on page 77. He is decreasing expenses. And now we're in the Justice Center, 54210, 75,000. Pause there, let that number sink in. And he's increasing expenses in, you guessed it, food supply.
And as he says there, that's the new contract with the increased cost. It's also reflected in the new budget, so, but he had the money to pay for it this year.
Do I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented? I have a motion from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Alford. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0.
You're finally there.
75,000 for 1 month. I mean, the amendment.
No, that's just to finish out the year. And you're to that point where you can do the rest of them all together.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Page 78 is we get into services rendered, and that'll take us to the end of the budget amendment packet. We'll take those up all together. I have a motion to accept the amendment as presented from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. That concludes the budget amendment packet except for elections.
Right, the emergency.
They are asking to decrease expenses. From what I understand in the emergency email, that the election conference or whatever has been canceled. So they would like to move money out of their travel into office supplies of $4,657 even. And they're going to put it in $435 office supplies. I have a motion to accept the amendment from Commissioner Slater. I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. That'll be included in the consent agenda. All right, that takes care of the budget amendments. And we go to other business. Anybody have anything they would like to bring to the Finance Committee? Commissioner Alford, please. $2,000 clean this up? I think that's what you said.
Gravel.
Where do you wanna pay for it from?
If you approve paying out your $599, we'll go ahead and get it PO'd in this year's budget if that's your wishes, and that it can occur whenever then.
Okay. And we got it in $599. So $2,000 to pay for gravel, and we'll be paying. Not to exceed 2,000? Just kidding. Well, this isn't like Congress where we have the debt ceiling going. So, yeah, no. Mayor, do you have to have a number, or you just whatever needs?
Something like, you all approve up to $2,500 to be paid out of
There you go.
$599 for
Sounds
gravel.
I have a motion from Commissioner Alford to pay for gravel for the food market up to $2,500 to be paid out of Commission's $599 line. Do I have a second? I have a second from Commissioner Mason. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Passes 4-0. This is something I could do Monday night, I guess, right? That
Yeah, and if you don't mind, Renee, you make a point after Monday night to go ahead and PO that, because getting at the end of the year, those things get forgotten.
Well, okay. I was getting ready to really wait till the next budget.
Also, about a fence around the Justice Center, I'd like to at least propose that we get some estimates on cost and see if we can pay it out of this year's budget, $599 also. I'm sure we can.
Out of this year's budget?
Or we can take it out of ARC money.
If I could, one, I told him, just go ahead and get the estimates, because it's gonna be a bid situation.
Mhm.
Go ahead and get the estimates, and once the budget is approved, we'll come back with a recommendation to pay for it out of ARC money. But don't make me change the budget 2 days before Monday. But it'll take him a while anyway. He can even begin the bid process if you want him to, but we'll wait and amend the ARP budget after the budget's approved.
It'll be a July thing.
I know he's already working on getting the estimates, so that'll take him a while, and then after July 3rd, you come back and amend the ARP. It'll be pretty high, because he's wanting to do a lot of it, so it will need to be
it's a
ARP.
pretty big area.
And what he's talking about, just so I guess everybody knows,
Yeah,
when we did closed-in rec yards when we built the Justice Center to prevent razor wire issues, and I always bragged about no razor wire at the jail, and now he's going to make me not be able to say that anymore. But other Justice Centers that we visited at the time had chain link fences with razor wire around them, and people can do what they're starting to do. I guess it's okay to say this publicly. So we didn't go that route. We did enclosed rec yards, block walls, but there's windows, tiny windows that are being vandalized somewhat. There's screens, you've got to be able to open up air to allow those kinds of things, and those screens are getting holes put in them. And please help me out, even though everybody else is watching. These are ways that things are happening, so he's saying that we come back and we put a fence outside of those walls to keep that from happening, where they can't get up to the wall, vandalize the screens or vandalize the windows, or sometimes even vandalize the locks in the door. 20 years ago, that was the latest you could do, and now they're getting around that somehow. So that's why he's proposing it. I don't know any other way of fixing it and any other way of stopping it, but they'll probably come up with a new way after we do this. But anyway, but there'll be money in the ARP to do it if you'll just wait till July, and it'll take him that long to be ready anyway, because he'll have to go through a 2 or 3 week bid process to get there.
So if this is gonna be part of the next budget, we don't need to do anything.
You don't need to do anything if you all are okay with it.
I mean,
I suggested he go ahead and do what he's doing, getting the estimates, and then when he gets the estimates, we'll need to amend the ARP at that time.
So Commissioner Alford, we'll send a communication over to Sheriff Lawson, asking him to proceed with getting the estimates and everything, and be prepared, to present in the next budget his number.
Problem.
Now, I mean, this is gonna solve the problem? I'm just wondering, I mean,
Thank you.
What?
I mean, the issue of why we have to have this fence is, I guess people are walking up to the wall. I mean, right now, right? I mean,
I don't want to encourage it happening,
yeah,
but
well, I mean,
supposedly it's happening.
okay. And it's gonna be around the entire facility.
Not the entire, I can't for him on that, but what I perceive happening is around the,
What I'm getting at is, Mayor, don't have A do it, right? I mean, if you need a fence around the entire property.
well, it's
then-
not the entire property, but it's around the holding facilities, the pods. So more than likely, it will start down there at administration and go down to the corner and down the end. That is where they have no access to those pods, they, the public. You know,
Okay.
you would think if you had a relative in jail, you wouldn't be sending him stuff, but people do. And that's to prevent that.
All right. So, Bill, help me out on that? All right. So Commissioner Alford, that's how we'll proceed with.
Yeah, fine, thank you. And so lastly, I was just wanting to check with the mayor or somebody. They put up a new fence around the new pickleball courts. Do we have an idea what that costs? And I guess the reason I'm asking is if you've been out there and looked at it, you got the old courts and the new courts. And between the two courts, there's a 4-foot fence. Around the rest of it is all 8-foot fence. Why would we put a 4-foot fence between two courts when they're playing pickleball? Somebody could hit it over in that court anytime they wanted to and create a problem. I don't know if you've been by there and looked at it, Mayor, but I thought it's just don't realize why we would do something.
I don't have an answer to that. I've been by and seen it. I thought it looked good and smiled when I read the sign on the fence and, but I don't know the difference in the heights, why that is. I'll find out if you want me to. I hadn't thought to ask that. Was the 4-foot already there when they did the latest? So when they put it up, they put part of it 4 and part of it 6 or whatever. The higher. I didn't. Yeah. I don't know either, but I'll find out because that's a good question. I guess I should know, but I wasn't that involved with getting it put up. And I don't remember the amount because it was a long time in getting it done. So it's been a while.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Alford. All right, that's, Commissioner Slater, Commissioner Mason on other business. That's it. All right. Next meeting is June 8th for the finance, as you know. The mayor will have his, budget proposal on Monday night, and Lori is gonna, take, I assume it's gonna be on disc or floppy.
Yeah, I'll bring you a book about.
So you're gonna have 14 copies?
Yeah.
All right, and we don't have to do
Uh,
I was gonna have Lori print us out a copy Thursday. But if you're gonna print them out,
proposal will be for everybody. Will just be page changes. I'll bring you page 34, 38, you know, and
Okay.
change them.
I
Yes.
wanna make sure that if you were bringing it on electronic format, that she was gonna print it out for us next Thursday, but that's.
No, we'll bring them already printed, right, Renee? Explain, you know, you went through a lot of amendments. I know it looked like a lot, and it is. I'm hoping that a lot of those were their end of the year amendments. Because she's got to go back and key in these amendments, and it's great that you moved this meeting till today, and we're going to ask that you do it every year. Because she's got to key this in before she can do the end of the year amendments.
True ups,
And they're due to you Wednesday.
right.
So that'll give her Monday, today and Monday to get these keyed in, and then that'll only give her Tuesday and Wednesday to do the end of the year amendments. And the end of the year amendments are important because we got to go back and check with departments. Okay, what do you project your last 2 payrolls to be? Because those lines can't go over. So those are important things. So The very time, there's 2 days to do this, and then there's 2 days to do the end of the year ones that you will see on Thursday or Friday.
Right, and, Commissioner Mason is new to finance, but I think you, Mike, just, next Thursday is the day where we take the mayor's proposal and make last minute changes or what, finance bank recommends to the full commission. If we get all of that done, on Thursday, then what we've done in the last couple of years is we've been able to go ahead and do the true ups that same day. But if it goes long and then we do reserve the next day to come back in here to do the true ups. I don't think we've had to do that but once, maybe. I can't. But we'd like to get everything done on Thursday.
You'll be able to, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully the true ups aren't anything out of whack. 2 or 3 years ago they were, and I think that's when you kind of split it off because you want to spend more time on them. Usually they're just true ups. Everything's in the black, and it's just moving money so that there won't be an audit issue. So we can point out to you at the meeting Thursday if there's any things like that. And of course, you'll have 2 days to look at them. But if there's not any red flags, there's no need spending time on them. They're just
Right,
true
I mean,
ups.
well,
So
the main, Commissioner, the main question I'll ask is who went over?
yeah, whether they went over.
Who exceeded their budget? All right. So Monday, the mayor's proposal, and then Thursday, I have a little note. Oh, last thing, we are scheduled to start Thursday at 9. Is that okay with everybody? Alfred? A little more. I have no problem. I'm taking the whole day off of work. So 9's early, but more time. That. I want you.
If he's late, we can do true ups first. That'll be an easy thing to get out of the way.
9 o'clock's okay. Okay. All right. There's nothing else. I'm sorry. Look to Lori. Thank you. There's nothing else. We are adjourned. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. See you. Man, I'm thirsty. Yes, please. I'm sure you worked in a bar and you were able to slide mugs. The Daily Banner getting their money's worth today, aren't they?